All right, joining us now, Republican Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana. Senator, welcome back to Fox News Sunday. Okay, so your response to the calls by, listen, there are Democrats and Republicans, and you heard Admiral Kirby say that they want that Senate package to get done. The Speaker hasn't moved it in the House. What's your message to both of these bicameral institutions today?
Well, I think my position is pretty clear. I love Israel. I despise Putin. I despise the Communist Party of China. And I despise the Ayatollah in Iran. I don't want America to be the world's policeman, but I don't want those guys to be the world's policeman either. And with those guys, if you turn the other cheek, you just get it in the neck. More sheep is not going to solve the wolf problem. I don't know, but I expect the Speaker of the House probably next week to put an Israel support bill on the floor of the House. I think it'll be followed by a bill to support Taiwan and the Indo-Pacific. And number three, I think he will put a bill to support Ukraine. Now, I think his bill is going to make the money alone, LOAN. I think it will require Ukraine to pay it back. I think we will seize some Russian assets to pay for it. I think the bill will be limited to military aid, not humanitarian aid. And I think there will be some strong encouragement to make Europe, which is vastly more wealthy than Russia, to do a better job of putting its money where its mouth is. And I think the bill will pass. It'll come back to the Senate, and unfortunately, I predict that if it comes back to the Senate, the big issue on those bills will not be Ukraine. The big issue will be Israel, because it is clear that President Biden is being influenced by the Hamas wing of the Democratic Party.
Well, to that point, you've got Senator Sanders there, one of your colleagues, who says in a piece in the Boston Globe this week, he said, not another nickel to Netanyahu. He says, does America want to be on the side of history of standing with people who are child killers and creating starvation? I mean, those are his words. He seems determined to block anything going to Israel.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And in the past 60 days, we have seen President Biden go wobbly in his support of Israel. And today, the White House has already leaked to the press early this morning that they're not going to participate in an Israeli response to what Iran just did. Let me say it again. More sheep is not going to solve the wolf problem. My advice to the president today, for what it's worth, Mr. President, don't. Stop it. Support Israel. With respect, go to Amazon and buy a spine online. Peace through weakness never works, not with these hard men.
What about the issue of Rafah and the fact that there are more than 1 million civilians? Many of them are refugees from other areas within Israel. They were told to evacuate there. They're there now. We know that Hamas uses them as human shields, but the fact is they're there. You know, the U.S. is weighing in on this. We are cautioning them. We are also indicating we're not going to be supportive of a mission there. Israel says getting to Hamas is, extinguishing an existential threat for them. But what are we to do about the civilian population caught in the middle of this thing?
Move them into the Sinai Peninsula. Now, that would require the consent of Egypt. We send billions of dollars a year in aid to Egypt. Egypt gets billions of dollars of free money from the International Monetary Fund that America controls. We need to sit down with Egypt and say we're moving the refugees into Sinai, and we're going to do to Hamas what we did to ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Egypt will not like it, But I think Egypt will understand why we're insisting on them doing that. Now, if the refugees don't want to move, that is their choice. But there is a simple answer to this if we just show a little bit of fortitude.
Well, we know Egypt would not be for that plan, as you said. They're not going to like it. We'll see what measure of leverage the U.S. would use there, because they feel that it may actually violate a treaty they've got with Israel. But let me get to this. The UN Security Council is going to meet this afternoon. Not known for being pro-Israel. What do you expect to see there this afternoon?
A lot of blah, blah, blahing. Probably our State Department will go along with it. Look, our State Department, they're pretty good at diplomacy, and they're pretty good at haggling over language at a UN summit, but they're not good for much more. We're in a bar fight here, and the State Department wants to quote Plato and Socrates and read Beowulf. In the last 60 days, they've already gone wobbly in their support of Israel. The president says it's ironclad. Come on, man. The American people may be poor under Biden, but they're not stupid. We need to stand with Israel. It's very clear. We're not at war with Hamas. Israel's not at war with Hamas or Hezbollah or Yemen. Those are all surrogates for Iran. They're prostitutes. The pimp is Iran. Israel is at war with Iran. Iran hates Americans. Iran hates Jews. Iran wants to kill Americans and Jews.
They have made
and if we turn the other cheek to them, we're going to get it in the neck.
All right, I want to ask you quickly, too, because there's talk about
That's my opinion.
Whether you guys will move aid this week. But you also are expected to receive, now, with everything that's happening, this may have changed, but the House sending over articles of impeachment for Secretary Mayorkas with respect to the border. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says it's absurd. The House hasn't proved anything. He's going to get rid of it very quickly. I know you feel differently about that.
Well, the United States House of Representatives has impeached a cabinet official, made serious charges after a thorough investigation. As I said last week, we're not talking about some snowbro who eats chicken McNuggets and smokes weeds and has an opinion. This is the United States House of Representatives. In the past 200 plus years, we've had 21 impeachments by the United States House of Representatives. We've always held a trial in the Senate unless the impeached official quit. We ought to do it now. Senator Schumer is coming up with all kind of excuses and talking about how many lawyers can dance on the head of a pin. He's trying to muddy the water to make it look deep. It's not deep. It's simple. He doesn't want to have the United States Senate examine Secretary Mayorkas and President Biden's open border policy that the American people are so upset about. And that's not a good reason to violate 200 years of precedent. My advice to Senator Schumer is same as to the president. Don't. Follow Senate precedent. Let's stop the Senate from rotting from within.
Well, we'll see if that makes it onto the calendar. Senator, thank you. Always good to see you.